There is a $30 underground chamber that keeps food fresh for 8 months, with zero electricity, zero refrigerant, and zero ongoing cost. It maintains 32 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit year-round in any climate on the planet. It holds 90% humidity automatically. It keeps food fresh 8 times longer than any refrigerator built today. Yet while the $500 billion refrigeration industry sells us machines that cost $1,500 to buy and consume $1,200 of electricity every single year, this system has been running on zero power under farmsteads across every continent for 4,000 years. So, what is it exactly? How does it work? And more importantly, why aren't any of us using this right now? To understand where this actually comes from, we have to go back to 2000 BC in the Zagros Mountains of ancient Persia, where farming settlements were facing a survival crisis with no modern solution in sight. Summer heat destroyed food stores within days. Winter froze everything solid. There was no harvest buffer, no supply chain, no fallback. One bad season meant starvation. Persian engineers solved this by observing something every one of us walks past every day without thinking about it. The ground beneath their feet was always cool. Even in the middle of a desert summer, dig down 4 feet and the soil stays cold. Not just cool, consistently, reliably, measurably cold. They began lining underground chambers with riverstone and clay, sealing the entrance with heavy timber, angling drainage channels to manage moisture. This was not folk knowledge passed around a fire. This was engineered food infrastructure, built with the same deliberate precision that constructed their irrigation canals and defensive walls. They understood that the earth itself was a machine, and that machine ran on zero fuel. What happened next is the part most food historians miss entirely. The knowledge did not stay in Persia, it traveled, and at every stop, it got better. Roman military engineers adopted underground storage across every garrison from North Africa to Britain, calling it the horium, a standardized underground storage system documented in military logistics records from 200 BC onward. Roman garrison commanders were required to maintain a minimum 6-month food reserve at all times. The horium made that possible without a single pound of ice or a single watt of power. By the 12th century, Cistercian monks across northern Europe had taken the Roman design one step further. They cut humidity vents into the ceiling. They introduced layered straw insulation between the outer soil and the inner stone wall. They separated storage chambers by food type: roots, fruits, preserved meats. Each zone maintained its slightly different humidity levels through deliberate vent positioning. But the single most important refinement came not from an ancient civilization, but from an 18th century German encyclopedist named Johann Georg Krünitz. In 1773, while compiling his Ökonomische Enzyklopädie, the largest agricultural reference work of its century, Krünitz became the first person to document in precise scientific terms exactly why underground storage outperformed surface storage. He measured the humidity differential. He recorded the temperature stability. He named the specific depth at which the thermal mass of soil became consistent enough to rely upon for food preservation. His documentation spread across every agricultural university in Europe within a decade. And for the next 150 years, the root cellar was considered not a primitive fallback, but a precision food engineering system backed by documented science. American frontier homesteaders inherited this knowledge directly, building a root cellar under every farmhouse as a matter of basic survival, standard construction knowledge passed from father to son for 300 years across every climate zone on the continent, until 1950, when everything changed, and what soil engineers and food scientists discovered when they began studying surviving root cellars in the 1970s is the part that changes everything, because the physics of what happens underground is something your refrigerator was specifically engineered to make you forget about. Here is the exact mechanism. The earth below 4 feet maintains a stable temperature of 32 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, in virtually any climate on the planet. This is called the thermal mass constant, and it exists because soil absorbs and releases heat so slowly that surface temperature swings, whether a 110 degree summer or a -30 degree winter, never penetrate below a certain depth. A properly built root cellar sits inside that thermal band permanently. No compressor, no refrigerant, no electricity of any kind. But temperature is only half the equation. The critical variable, the one your refrigerator gets completely wrong, is humidity. Root vegetables are not dead objects waiting to be consumed. They are living organisms. They respire. They lose moisture through their cell walls. They need cold and moisture simultaneously to stay alive and nutritious. A properly built root cellar maintains 85 to 95% relative humidity automatically through the moisture content of the surrounding soil and through the natural respiration of the stored vegetables themselves, creating a self-regulating biological environment that no mechanical system can replicate at any price. Your refrigerator runs at 30 to 40% humidity. That is why refrigerated carrots turn rubbery and hollow in 2 weeks. The University of Minnesota Extension documented carrot storage life of 10 months in properly built root cellars versus 3 weeks in standard refrigeration. That is the 8 times multiplier, and it costs nothing to run. The $500 billion refrigeration industry understands exactly what a root cellar does. The problem, for them, is what it does not do. It does not consume electricity. It does not require a compressor replaced every 12 years. It does not need refrigerant handled by certified technicians. It generates no service contract. You cannot patent the thermal mass of soil. You cannot meter the humidity of the earth. They did not bury the root cellar because it stopped working. They buried it because it worked forever, and forever does not generate a monthly bill. In 1944, the War Production Board authorized mass manufacture of mechanical refrigerators as part of post-war domestic infrastructure planning. Federal housing guidelines written between 1945 and 1955 standardized the American kitchen around the electric refrigerator and removed underground food storage from approved residential construction codes entirely, not because root cellars failed, because refrigerators needed a power grid, and a power grid needed customers. Within a single generation, 4,000 years of Earth-based food engineering was written out of every building manual, every homestead guide, and every agricultural extension program in the country. And for anyone willing to spend $30 on one weekend, that monthly bill ends permanently. Here is how to build one. Dig a hole 4 feet deep, 4 feet wide, 4 feet long, below your local frost line. Line the walls with dry stacked fieldstone or concrete block. Build a simple timber frame roof, cover with plywood, pile 12 inches of soil back over the top. Cut a 4-inch ventilation hole through the rear. Insert a PVC pipe elbow angled downward. Install a heavy insulated door flush with the ground, sealed with weather stripping. Line the interior with wooden slatted shelving 6 inches off the floor. Total material cost, $30. Daily running cost, $0. A chest freezer costs $800 up front, plus $150 per year in electricity, every year, forever. One honest limitation: root cellars require soil that drains. Clay-heavy soil holds water and will flood the chamber. Test your drainage first. Pour 5 gallons of water into a 2-foot hole. If it drains within 1 hour, your soil is suitable and your build can begin. The Persians were not alone. Korean Joseon dynasty farmers maintained Kimjang underground storage cellars through -30-degree winters for 500 years. Indigenous Iroquois communities kept corn and squash viable through 9-month winters in bark-lined underground caches with 0 loss. In Scandinavian countries, where the practice never fully disappeared, commercial root cellar facilities now store over 60% of the national carrot and potato harvest through winter at 0 energy cost per unit stored. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Food Science confirmed that root cellar storage maintains significantly higher levels of vitamin C and beta-carotene in root vegetables than refrigeration, because the living cell structure remains biologically intact rather than slowly desiccating in dry refrigerator air. $30. 0 electricity. 8 times longer storage life. More nutritious than the machine that replaced it. Subscribe to Homestead Vault and share this with someone who needs to see it. And if you want to see how Persian engineers used the same underground thermal mass principle to cool entire desert cities to 65 degrees Fahrenheit in summer with 0 electricity, that video is right here.